Welcome to video 4 of the Firepower Proof of Value video installation series. In this video, we will start the Firepower management configurations. In the previous videos, we covered how to install the Firepower software on an ASA, how to update both the manager and Firepower installation, so now we are ready to actually configure the proof of value. The first step for your configuration is to go under Objects and Object Management to set up your network objects. Once inside Object Management, the first task is to create a new object. This will be the network range that we will be evaluating during the POV process. So we can call this Evaluation Network, or you can use a name the customer provides, such as Data Center, Building A, or so forth. Put in your network. In my case, it's a /24, and it will create my object. Next, I will go to Policies, Network Discovery. I will delete any existing networks. Typically, there's the 10, 172, and 192 networks there. So you delete those, add a new rule. In this rule, you will select the network object you previously created, as well as you can add other networks. Click Save, and now you have a network discovery protocol considering this the inside network, meaning any IP addresses not found within this network discovery will be considered the outside world. Note you must click Deploy to apply these configurations. I'll move forward a little more before deploying the changes. Now we'll move to the IPS policy, found under Access Control, Intrusion. In this example, I will create a new policy and give it a name, Eval Policy. I will go with Balance and Connectivity and uncheck the drop-in line. And I will click to create and edit this policy. A few moments later, and I will have my new policy. The next step is to tune this policy by going to Rules. Here I'm going to search using the filter for specific terms. Those terms are malware, which will bring up signatures of interest. Next, I'll select All, select Rule State, and choose to drop and generate events. Once this completes, hit OK, and do the same process for Blacklist. Once again, select All, drop, and generate events. Repeat this process for the statement PUA. Select All, drop, and generate events. Next, the statement Indicator of Compromise. Select All, drop, and generate events. Next, Exploit Kit. Select All, drop, and generate events. The last one we will bring up is 1201, and we will select only Indicator Compromise 403 Forbid and choose to disable this rule. Once that completes, click OK, click Policy Information, and commit these changes. Give it a description if you want, and commit. Next, we will create a AMP, or Advanced Malware Protection Policy. That's found under Policies, Access Control, Malware, and File. We will create a new policy and give it the name Eval Policy. Our policy is blank, so we must add a rule. Let's go ahead and select everything. You do this by selecting the checkboxes to the left for file type categories, and then with all types selected, click Add. Then click Save. Next, we will add one more rule. The last rule was for detecting files. This one will be for cloud lookup. So malware cloud lookup. We will use the local detection engines, and we will store unknown files. Here you can be very selective, or you can select everything. In this use case, I will go with Office documents, executables, PDF files, and dynamic analysis capability. I will choose to select all types and click Save. Once these two rules are completed, I will click Save. At this point, I have created an IPS policy and AMP policy. Next, I need to create an access control policy. I find this in their policies, access control. I will create a new policy and give it the name eval policy. I will choose to use my 5512 for this policy. In my use case, the 5512 was applied to a different policy because when I added it, I by default selected test policy, but now my 5512 is under this new policy. The next step is to add a few rules. The first rule will be done by clicking Add Rule. I will call this URL Monitor, and the purpose is just to enable the ability to monitor URL, hence people's surfing habits. I go to URLs and I can select any category, such as adult pornography, and add. I will change allow to monitor because again, my focus is just to enable monitoring. Once this is done, I click OK. Next, I will create another new rule, and this one will focus on detecting threats. So, threat detection. It will allow, however, it will alarm because we're going for the IDS approach here. I click Inspection, and I select the IPS rule I created, eval policy, and I select the malware rule I created, eval policy. Note, if I change this to block, it will not allow this to work because this is an IDS or inspection policy. I go back to allow, and I can once again select my eval policies. Next, I click logging and choose to log at the end of the connection, and I click OK. My default action is to block traffic. We are doing a POV. We will change this to our eval policy or IDS policy. Once the default action is sent to the IDS IPS policy, we will click the paper to edit this. We will choose to log at the end of connection, just like we did before, and click OK. Next, we will select the Security Intelligence tab. Here, we will select the global blacklist, hold down Shift, and select everything in between. So from global blacklist to Tor node, and select to add that to the blacklist. Once these are added, we will select the note, which is the logging options above all of these. We will confirm event viewer and logging is on. And lastly, we need to change that these go from a block to monitor state. You do this by right-click, monitor only. And you can select all by using the Shift again, making those monitor only. Once this is complete, click Save, and then we can deploy our new policy. I will select the 5512 and deploy my policy. The final things to do are to go to System, Updates, update your rules by clicking the Rule Update tab, setting a time and day, applying that, and you can also download the rules now by clicking Download New Rules and Import. By clicking Download Rules and selecting to reapply the rules once they are downloaded. This will get you the latest rules right now. Next, click Geolocation Updates, and again, select to download those as well as set your date and time for the reoccurring updates. Last, go to Product Updates, click Download Updates, and then apply the latest SourceFire vulnerability and fingerprint database updates. I choose to apply these last, as well as any updates last, as these may take some time, and they could be set in the task manager as a last thing before you leave the POV. Some guides may suggest to do these first, however, you may have to wait a while before you can move forward with the other configurations, hence why I recommend to do the updates last. The updates are applied by selecting my Firepower instance and clicking Install. At this point, you can click the exclamation point to check the status of what's running under the task section. Once you reach this point, your POV should be functioning and you should be collecting data. You can validate this under the Overview, Dashboards, Summary Dashboard page. My current lab doesn't have much traffic, but at a client site you should see client applications, web traffic, fingerprinting devices, like I'm starting to do now, and so forth. At this point, you should be ready to hand the POV over to your customer and let this run for a period of time to collect data. The final step will be to come back and run the risk report, which I'll show in a later video.